And here we go. I think, yes, we are live now. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. I'm Sunil Kumar Das and welcoming you all to the show, the Sunil Show. On this podcast, we dive into the exciting world of IT project management, from discussing project management, product development, and business analysis to exploring the latest in trending technologies. We cover it all. Subscribe us on YouTube and join us, the Sunil Show, family, for valuable knowledge and inspiration to propel your career forward. So today, I'm much excited to welcome our guest, Shivani Sehgal, to the show. Shivani, it's a great pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sunil. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for inviting. And a very, very good greetings to everybody from wherever they are joining. It's Sunday morning here where I am, but good hello to everybody.
Okay, so how are you doing today? How is your day so far?
Day is good. Sunday morning, nice and bright. I live in state of Iowa in United States. So since last 2 days, we have been having really bad weather, a lot of tornado warnings. So we are not getting sleep. So kind of at night, 3 o'clock, we heard tornado sirens going on. So Friday from 3 o'clock till Saturday, whole morning we were awake, and then again Saturday night we had a lot of tornado warnings. So it's the weather is kind of a little tricky, but today looking outside, just keeping my fingers crossed. So all good. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope things calms down and it will settle down soon. Okay, now to everyone, just imagine this. If it's your first day as a project manager and the room is filled with anticipation, and your heart is racing. So you're about to lead a team to create something incredible, but where to start? That's a big question. So today we'll explore how to navigate our project management career from scratch. You know. So with that note, let us get started with our discussion. So Shivani, I would like to understand, how can someone new to project management, gain the necessary skills and knowledge?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sunil, first of all, project management is a very broader scale. When we talk about someone who is new to project management, they could be someone who's absolutely new and they
Right.
don't know anything about project management and they want to get into it. Second phase would be that someone has a little knowledge and they get into a workspace as a project coordinator, right? And then the other would be someone has a little experience, but now they're stepping in as a project manager, which would be like their first kind of a smaller project, shadowing someone. So these are the phases which I kind of look into. I'm a very, very unconventional project management. I take a project as it comes. So I'll just share my knowledge here. For anyone who is new, if you say that how they can gain the necessary skills and knowledge in this line, it is all about practice, practice, practice.
Agree.
The more you practice, you will sharpen your skills. That is very important. And project management skills, I would just like to remind everybody, it takes time to learn. It does not come over time because project managers, they do a lot of things. um, you know if someone wants to enhance their knowledge, I would recommend that there are a lot of industry events which goes on. There are workshops, there are online events. A very good thing is that PMI, they have their local chapters. That is all over the world. Try to find that local chapter, where you live. Try to attend that. That's a good way of networking. That's a good way of learning. Trying to find a coach, a guide, a peer. Always be there to look out for other opportunities which involves project management. And project management does not necessarily includes that you have been given a project. In our life, when we get up, your day starts with a project. So try to find those little projects in the community. Consider joining professional associates. try to meet with people from the different industries to enhance your knowledge. That's how you will sharpen your skills in project management.
That's very true. The first thing is when you are starting out, you need to understand what it takes to become the project manager and
Exactly.
what are the skills. Either every job requires some of the core skills, so that has to be there along with some soft skills. So once we understand these two verticals, it will be easy for us to start with. Okay, you need to have a start point, right?
Correct.
So that's brilliant. Thanks for that. Now, so, though we are talking about the skills required, so what are the skills or the key skills and qualities that a successful project manager should have from both the verticals, like core skills as well as the power skills or the soft skills?
That's a very good question, Sunil. I feel that a project manager should have they should have very good soft skills. First of all,
Right?
soft
Mhm.
skill encompasses of lot of things. But when if we kind of just talk about what skills project managers should have, I think the very important thing is, um, biggest skill is which comes from here, from within, and it goes here, is keep yourself updated with the trend. That is also a skill. If you're not a social media person, or if you're not people's person, you can't do anything. So that's the biggest skill. Second thing is communication. Communication is very important, whether we agree or we don't agree. Project managers, they spend 90% of their time communicating, and
Right.
20% of employees, they generally kind of poor reporting out of 90%. So communication is very important. Then you should have management skills, because as a project manager, you would be managing a team, right? So you need to know that, what management skills do you have. You are responsible for guiding your team throughout the life cycle. You should be familiar about different project management tools and softwares. Then you need to have leadership skills, because it is very crucial that, as if you're a project manager, you're still a coach and a guide to your team, because you are the main point your team is going to come and talk to you about, right? If you foster stronger leadership in your team, I think your and just have your employees give that credibility of meaningful contribution to them, they'll be very productful. You can help your team feel impactful if you have that leadership skill. The other thing is very important, is that project managers need to be good negotiators. And if you're a good negotiator, just think about three things. One,
Mhm.
compromise, collaborate, and be competitive. So that is very important. Uh,
Right.
then you need to have planning and coordinating skills. And this is one skill which I'm going to share right now, where people are going to say that maybe it two skills maybe, that it's not required, but I feel that it is. One is customer service skill, because if you have that customer service skill, because you need to remember that you have to satisfy your stakeholders, right? If your
Right.
stakeholders are happy, that is where you can, because they are providing the funds, the budget, they can help you with risk mitigation, etc. So that customer service skill is very important. And then I think lastly we can talk about, Sunil, operation. Generally
Right.
project managers, they don't think about operations, but once your project is done, it's not ended. How we need to hand over it to operational manager or the operational team when it goes into maintenance, right? So you need to have that operational skills, which could be business operational changes. And as I mentioned, during closing the project, when you're handing it over, that how you need to handle and ensure that the maintenance of the project is done. So I think those are the core skills that everybody should have.
So you rightly said those. So now the first important thing is, as you mentioned, it's all about customer service as well. You as a project manager, you must understand that particular point. And in terms of the service management, when you go for ITIL, the core concept is co-creating value. It's not about creating the value; it's co-creating the value. When you work with the customer, you understand you realize the benefit, and you understand what's the end goal you would like to achieve, and for that you along with the team you are working towards, right? So end of the day, it's all about co-creating value.
Right.
That's great one. And the second point is the operational. So certainly project managers should have some knowledge about how the operation works, and once you have delivered the final product, it will go to the it will be operationalized, and once it is done, where it will be working, how the maintenance works will happen, right? That's when people will be using the final product. So those are spot on. Yeah, that's great. So again, going back to a basic thing, that understanding the project management in a better way, according to your experience. So could you explain what exactly project management and why it is important in today's business landscape?
That's a very good question, Sunil. I always tell everybody when there is a newcomer who would like to join as a project manager, my first question is that how you start your day, right?
Right,
It's a very military thing. If you hear about all those chief of staffs, right, in a military, they always tell that to the cadets that, when you get up in the morning, your biggest project of the day is to make your bed. You get up, you make your bed, you fold your sheets, then you go and then you do your regular stuff. You want to brush, go take shower, get ready, but your first project is making your bed. If you don't do that,
right,
if you get up and then you say, oh, you know what, I'll do it later, that time is gone. So you need to know that. So that's very important. So, if I have to explain project management, right? So, I see project management in everything. I'm at home, I go out, I'm
right,
working. So, any work that is done, Sunil, whether it is a task, it is an event, or it is a duty, right? That would need some kind of a planning, organizing, or if you manage that from start to finish, like a small example that when you get up, you make your bed, it's from start to finish, it just take 1 minute. That's a project, you know.
right,
And it is very important to have project management in today's business days because everything is captive, right? You have budget, you have time. So people who have these skills of project management, they can ensure that everything is delivered in time as requested. It is not going out of scope, which is in the
right,
budget. And the most important thing is that the deliverable which is provided, it is high quality, right? Because it's not that you implement something and you're handing it over. You will look at
right.
it, you will test it, you will, kind of get it through the QA, and then you'll say, well, all good. So that's the reason we need it, because it gives that um, kind of a schedule from start to finish. So that's why it's important.
That's great. So again, we need to understand this is a very basic thing that
Yeah.
each and everything that you do in your personal life is a project. However, it's a small project with a small timeline and probably a tiny goal associated with it. But yeah, you need to understand project management starts from yourself, from your family, from your personal life. That's easily you can relate with your professional life, and you can learn a lot. If you are doing some analysis, let's say you are performing a short analysis, you are doing a gap analysis, skill gap
Mhm.
analysis, anything that you can relate to your personal life, because you have done a lot of project from your childhood. If you start doing so and learning, I personally love that when you learn, you try to connect the dots. When you
Correct.
try to connect, that will help you realize, oh my god, this is something I have done incredibly in my life. Either you have planned a picnic party, you know, for your best friend, for your spouse, for your family, for your mother, brother, right? You can learn from that. Okay, I have done such a, beautiful manner. I have, navigated through each of the phases. That's a great learning.
Absolutely, Sunil. And I've heard a lot about that project managers. They say, oh my God, we get burned out so quick because we are doing one project and then second and then third and then fourth. And we are just doing projects. But if you go back, like, how your moms did stuff at home, how you did stuff from childhood, very good example, like you said, throwing a party for your sibling or a spouse, you are managing everything from start till the finish. And you're like, wow, this was awesome, we did it. So that fire would always be there within you. So try to take all the projects which you have with the same tenacity, and say that with the same interest, and you'll enjoy it. It's been 24 years, and I've never ever once thought that I'm burned out. I enjoy every day of my work. I just love it, what I do. So
That's a great point here to note. Okay, so with that, now switching our gears a bit towards the project management aspect. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced as a project manager? Now, if you could highlight some of the lessons learned and how did you tackle those challenges, that would be really grateful.
oh boy. We all are project managers, and with every project, you go through, it's like ebb and flow, right?
Right?
You go through
Yeah.
ups and downs. You have successful projects, and there are some projects which are not as successful. But the biggest challenge, I can let you know, that is from one of the projects, and it recently happened, I think about, I should say, about a year and a half back. We were onboarding a new department, and it was just having a challenging stakeholder. And I know that it is, you might think that it's a pretty common thing with Shivani saying challenging stakeholder, but it is very important too, because as a project manager, I always feel that you can move to any domain or any vertical, because project management skills are very different. And when you talk about stakeholder, they have very specific knowledge of their domain. you know
Right.
Either they could be executive stakeholders, and they are providing you budget, or they are stakeholders who could be a user or could a subject matter expert, right?
Matter expert,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So what I went through a year and a half back was very challenging stakeholder, that, hey, no, I don't want to do this, because it was an onboarding department. So you have to work with email and the policies, and the software platform and everything. So it was humongous. But I think you can overcome your challenges, Sunil, very importantly, especially with stakeholders, when you listen to them actively. You understand their perspective. You can take all that from them, and not put your perspective on them. But when you get their insight, what they want, what they're thinking, come back, sit with your team, right? Tell that this is what the stakeholders said. And then you take your plan and see where it is matching. Then you go back to the stakeholder and give your perspective, but in their own language, in stakeholders' language. So you're still doing the same thing which you wanted to do earlier, right? But you're giving that comfort level to the stakeholder, that, hey, we listen to you, so we'll provide you what you want. But ultimately, again, it's kind of a negotiation deal, right? That you go back and you provide what you are providing, but stakeholder thinks that, hey, you know what, PM and the team listen to me, so hey, I win. But happy situation as project moves, so which is fine. So that was most challenging situation for me.
That's great. So on the same note, I could think of one of the situation what I dealt with, the same stakeholder management. It is one of the crucial aspect, as you mentioned. Probably it could be a common challenge for everyone, but it is the crucial one.
Yeah.
because stakeholders are the person that you will be working with, and they have the authority to either close the project and help you to win the project. So always, what I personally believe, don't go with a mind that to kind of with a judgmental, or immediately you try to respond. No, it won't happen. Give some time, listen their pain points, because always, as we always believe in customer service, that customers are god. So from that perspective, they have something valid point to say. So try to listen, and
Right.
you try to analyze that feasibility study will take some time, because project managers are not always the subject matter expert. By listening to any pain point on the change, we can directly judge, okay, it could happen or not. No, we need some time. Now certainly what you can take, but buy some time, go back to your team, understand, brainstorm, then come to a point. And while you are communicating, as you mentioned, communication is one of the crucial point. If things are not happening, we can go back to the customer and explain them through the data points, right? If it is happening, that's good. Why it could happen, and if you're not able to meet that requirement, why so? If we are doing that one, it will be easy for us to, as you mentioned, to deal with that situation and win that particular game. You know,
Right.
so that's a brilliant one.
Thank
Now
you.
moving towards the different vitals of project management, or the diversity. So how can a project managers specialize in different industries, or different industry? When I say within IT, if I take an example, we have a lot of domains. We have healthcare, we have e-commerce, we have entertainment, we have gaming, we have online, ticket booking or traveling, a lot of other domains, right? So how can they specialize in any domain, and by doing so, what are the different benefits they can achieve?
Sunil, as I mentioned earlier, that project management skills, everybody should understand that project management is a skill in itself, right? When we talk about different domains, I always feel that each domain would have their subject matter expert. It
Correct.
also depends upon an organization that how they have structured their project management or PMO. When if there is no subject matter expert,
Right.
obviously the project manager would step in as a subject matter
Right.
expert, but it takes about 2 to 3 weeks if you move into a domain, because I worked into a government sector, right? There you are not uh, you are not siloed with one domain. So we work with HR, we work with treasurer, we work with health department, we work with um, uh, recorder's office, and we need to learn all that. The best way to learn and understand is to be with the people who are in that domain, you know listen to them, try to understand what their daily workflow is, try to see that how they are doing the work, what is required, right? The only thing what I would say is that it is important when you make that shift, right? Because it could be, if you think about career in advancement, then that specific domain is very important. So those are the benefits that you can do career in advancement, that, oh, I just want to stick with healthcare. It also increase your credibility, because then you have similar kind of people around you. You have better client relationship because you're just dealing with those specific client. You
Right.
have higher learning potential because you're just honed into one specific field, right? But I always feel, as I just mentioned couple of seconds back, that have a good project management skills and you can work with any domain, because you need to look for a good mentor or a coach. Just do continuous learning, and you can fit into anything. I would probably, if I'm looking for a job, I would look at the jobs in all the domains and I'll apply because I know and I'm confident about my skills. So I don't want to say that, hey, you know what? I need to be with emergency management or I need to be with sheriff's office or health department. No. You need to just know your skill sets and kind of just move forward. That's what I feel.
That's a great one. So certainly, because project management is always it's a practice, right? And we have different frameworks. So when you go to different industries, so you will apply those skill sets, those frameworks, respective regardless of any industry. However, as we discussed, there will be certainly some limitations and some domain knowledge requirement is there. But certainly, you can by taking some webinars or courses, you can add on to that skills. But understanding or having good project management skills is much important to be part of any industries. That matters. So that's a great one. Now we always talk about being current with the industry, and given the current situation and the market, the challenging market that we have, project management is evolving, you know
Mhm.
so what's your thoughts on this one? Like, what are some emerging trends in project management that you would like to share with our audience that the project managers should know about?
Sure. I think as we all know, when pandemic had hit, things have changed a lot. So
Right.
when we
Yeah.
talk about emerging trends, Sunil, if we keep the knowledge aside a little bit, I think we need to understand that there are trends where, now there is more remote work. There is
Right.
more distributed work, which is there. So, if you have good PM skill sets, that'll help you a lot. In emerging trends, I think one should also make sure that soft skills now that is huge in project management. So
Right.
work on those skills. As we know that technology is changing so fast, so try to keep up yourself updated, or at least have a very good knowledge about AI and automation. So you don't have to be a developer. I'm not a developer, but I did no code AI from MIT, because that will keep you with the trend, because that'll give you understanding that if you're handling a project, what your team is doing, so you can relate to them, right? Most importantly, try to embrace the change. uh, you know
Right.
Learn to work with data. Data is big nowadays.
Right.
Data driven decision making is very, very important. So those are the things, those changes which has happened over time in project management, that I would recommend that everybody should be aware of it, and then keep themselves updated. While we are talking about this, Sunil, maybe next week something else is going to come out, right?
Right.
Microsoft came out with Think 24, Google came out with their AI trend recently, and LinkedIn is floated with Microsoft and Google, with AI and automation implementation. They just delivered it, and it was awesome to attend those live webinars. It was really good. So just keep up yourself up to date with the trends which are happening.
That's great. Yeah. So one of the emerging thing that we all see is the generative AI one. So it's in trending, and most of the industry, they are in the race to acquire that and adopt in their business so that they all can be in the race. You know, that's a great one actually. And moving forward, one of the critical aspect that we have in project management is risk management. you know so what role does risk management play in project management, and how can a fresher develop these skills?
Yeah, that's a huge one, Sunil. Risk management is very important, because if you don't identify the risk, right, I don't know where your project is going to go. So,
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about risk management here. So risk management actually helps in systematically identifying the risks at the beginning, right? Because when you initiate a project, when you're scoping it, that's the time you would come to know, if you're a good communicator, through your stakeholders, that what risk would be involved in your project. So that's kind of stepping into risk management. It also it also arises during the course of the full life cycle of a project. And why I say that
Right.
is that, when you are doing a project, suddenly there is a change in the market. There is some kind of a regulation which is changed. There is a natural disaster, like, COVID happened, when everybody had to stop and redo the projects in a different way. So, those things are, which comes into kind of risk management, and everybody should be very careful about that. Then it is that, you should also need to understand how to assess the risk, you know
Right.
and assessing
Mhm.
the risk by probability of kind of assuring the potential impact. I'm sorry, that, because risk could just not be a market change. Risk could also be related to your schedule, whether you are on
Right.
schedule or you're getting late. It could be budget related, it could be quality related, it could be scope related. So need to kind of keep that in mind. Most importantly, it also helps in mitigating, monitoring, and controlling, because if you have everything charted really well, it will help you in that. It also improves the chances for your project success, as we all know, right? I also feel, Sunil, that we should have a good understanding of the basic fundamental for the freshers I'm talking about, fundamental of risk. So when we talk about freshers, they just need to understand, they don't need to dive deep
Right.
into it, because project managers are there to show them the path. But I think for freshers, it's very important to learn the terminology of risk management. What are the verbiage, what is used, what are the processes, what are the techniques. They should also do networking with professionals in the same field if they would like to go into risk management. I would also recommend them to stay informed with industrial trends. Like we
Right.
just spoke about industrial trend about AI, there are trends where you can listen about risk management, right? Leverage internships. There are so many internships with the companies, organization, do that. And importantly, practice. There is something called screeners analysis, which is very important. So they should do that. And that'll help them to understand risk, and if they like it, then they can kind of just step into that as their profession as well.
Right. So as you mentioned, just connecting to the back that we have discussed, it's all about improving our project management skills or learning it in a better way. So once you have the basics, the foundation clear, then slowly you'll be able to understand things. And when you build network, when you take coaching or the mentorship, slowly things will clear out. You know. So these two points will definitely help. But again, building or learning project management skills is essential.
Hmm.
You know. That's a great one. Now, when we talk about project success criteria, we have three important aspects. One is the time, then the budget, the cost, and the quality. You know, so what's your thought on this? Note or tips to our freshers or the entry level project manager, that how can they effectively manage time and cost within the given the constraints for any project.
See, Sunil, it's very simple. If you are upcoming project manager, new to the field, or you are old, I think you need just be strategic about a couple of things when it comes to budget and timeline, right? I feel that, as I said, that I'm very unconventional project manager. I just take my each project very differently. So what I would do is that I review my project plan. You know, look at
Right.
the baseline, what the baseline is, communicate the risk if there is, because initially you are analyzing the skill and then you're assessing it. Once you assess it, obviously you'll have to share it, right? And work on kind of communicate the risk and also work on the efficiencies, right? Making sure how making sure that you have good effective communication, which we just covered and we have covered multiple times. Be careful about the gold plating, meaning stick to the scope. Because your budget and your timeline is going to go haywire. That if you're just going to say yes to everything, yes, we will do this,
Everything.
yes, we
Right.
will do that. So be very careful about gold plating. Adjust your resources allocation if needed. How much you need, when you need, why you need. Keep on thinking out about that. Review your project cost and expenditure against the allocated budget, which is very
Budget. Right.
important. And I think the most important thing is, which I cannot emphasize enough, is empower your team, so the tasks are completed at given time. If you empower your team and you build that confidence, you have that strong relationship management skill with your team, right? They would go a step further and they'll say, you know what, we'll do it, it's fine. So those things
Right.
are very important.
That's great. Yeah. So certainly here, people management skills or the your leadership skills matters. You know. So alongside your project management skills, you need to develop your leadership skills as well. And eventually, as you mentioned, it won't happen over the time. It requires, it takes experience and time. You know. But yeah, that's a great one. And again, we have the third parameter is scope. You know, so always we see there will be some kind of scope creep. So what's your tips for the entry level project managers, that how can they strategize to manage the scope creep?
Yeah, that's a good one, Sunil. As a project manager, one needs to understand the scope well, and that's why we
Right.
have a phase called initiation, right? Where you're just trying to understand everything about the project, what
Right.
is happening. So
Right.
understand the scope well, and then set up the clear expectations and understand when, what, and how. When it needs to be done, what it needs to be done,
Rooters.
how it needs to be done. These things are very important, right? Have a streamlined and formal change control management, like ITIL 4 always says that you should have a good, solid change control management. Review the
Right.
changes against the scope, and show how it will impact the resources. Prioritize your changes, and very important, like we spoke a couple of minutes back, that one of the skills project management should have is negotiation. So even in managing your scope, negotiation is very important, because you need to have those trade-offs by engaging your stakeholders. That's a very good skill. Then document your change, and most importantly, continue monitoring your scope. So just kind of
Right.
implementing these strategies, I think it'll be very helpful, that you'll try to keep within your scope what is there. But stakeholder trade-offs are huge here, Sunil, that they'll help you a lot in your scope creep. So
Correct. That's true. So they are the one. They will certainly assist you in terms of the scope creep. And if you nurture your relationship with the customer or the client, that will make your project journey very smooth. That's
right.
it's very true. Yeah. Okay, so I think we discussed about the foundation of project management and different vitals. Now let's switch our gears a bit and discuss the HR perspective of it. So today we are dedicating this episode to all the entry-level project managers or project enthusiasts. So here, to start with this one, You know, what should aspiring project managers include in their resume to stand out to the employers? What are
Sure.
the key skills?
Sure. When we talk about aspiring project managers, there could be some who are not even in the project management field, but um, they probably spoke to you. They heard your YouTube channel, and they feel that, oh wow, this is interesting, or social networking. They're seeing your awesome post which you put, Sunil. So maybe they'll feel that I want to go in that field. So one category is that. The other one is, again, like project coordinator or someone who's getting on an entry level,
Right,
to enhance, just to kind of enhance their career, depending on which level they are. you know you have to add your experience accordingly, because if
right,
you don't know anything about a project, or if you are a project coordinator, and if you're a project manager, if you've handled one project, then whatever you're adding in your resume would be different. So by that, what I mean is, be honest. Don't write the skills which you do not have. HR, human resources associates are very smart, right? They know who's entry level. They will encourage you if they want someone on that level. So, first and foremost, I always tell everybody who asks me is that, you should have a good cover letter with a resume.
right,
Address that cover letter to a hiring manager of an organization. Then you need to let them know that why do you want to join their organization, and how can you be productive and beneficial to that organization in any level, right? When we talk about resume, you always remember that the resume should be as per the ATS standards, right?
right.
Because now
Yeah,
everything is automated. There are new softwares, they scan the resumes, so you need to make sure that it's with your standard. Make sure that your resumes are concise. You have concise professional and educational summary first. Mention your skills, which you need to know that what project managers they need. So play with those skills, and that would be good at any level. Like communication, time management, scheduling, problem solving, relationship management. If you have worked on any budget work, right, those that you have experience with budget or contract or negotiation. Very important, if you've used any tools, or if you're proficient in any tool. Everybody would know Word, Excel, like Microsoft. So whether you're fresher, project coordinator, PM, at least you write that these are the things I'm proficient in. So be very strategic with the skills, what you're writing and what level you are on. You know, the skill what Sunil can write in his resume, probably an entry level project manager won't be able to write. But yes, they can say that, what? Heck, I do a very good communication. I'm a good communicator. I have a good relationship
absolutely.
management skills. So all those, I think, and mention your certificates. Very important, because as I always say, practice, practice, practice. But there are a lot of industries, they look for PMs or coordinator with good certifications. And if you have reference letters, very good. Attach good reference letters too, because when you upload your resume nowadays, they say references, reference letters, certificates, any additional paperwork. So provide them as much as you have. It's just like a college application, seems like it nowadays. Fold it electronically and upload. So those are the tips which I would probably give them, and it'll make them
So,
stand out for sure.
That's great. Yeah. So again, one important thing to highlight here is the transferable skills. If somebody is at very entry level, or they would like to apply for a project expeditor or a project coordinator role, or just would like to get into the project management field, now just sit back and try to understand what are the skills that you can transfer.
Yeah.
If you are a fresh grad, then if you have done any event management at your college, if you have done any project at your final year, just try to understand what role you have played during that, and what are the transferable skills you have acquired, and how can you articulate that and according to the ATS standard. That's important. In case, because you are very in the first days, you people won't expect you to do much. They won't expect you that you should have your PMP certification or any Prince certification. No, but they can certainly look for these transferable skills, and if you are able to articulate that clearly and concisely, that will certainly help you to get at least the first round clear, the screening down, and you can get a job, offer or the call for interview. You know, so that's important. Now, talking about, uh, we have network. We always tell, try to build solid network and be try to socialize, actively, and be active in the social media platform like LinkedIn. So, how can freshers and all the entry level project managers their network and find jobs through network opportunities? What tips you
Um,
could provide?
Yeah, I think it's a huge one, Sunil, with hybrid working, remote working. I think as just become a member of a professional association like PMI.
Right.
Attend the local chapter as we spoke earlier. Look out for the industrial events and conferences. Utilize online platforms. Volunteering, I think, is very important. For if you have to volunteer, you don't need to be an employee of that organization. So just kind of volunteer, attend career fairs, which is very important. Build good professional relationship with other PMs. And I feel that it's very important to shortlist the companies one would like to join. That's what I have done with Open with Work, that these are the top 5 companies I would like to work with. Review their career page and apply. They post job every week. Bigger companies apply on that. And follow up is very important. It's not that, oh, you've applied and your job is done. Sometimes there is email addresses given in there. Just email them. And I think, um, just don't give up, because it's not easy. Just be strong and just kind of keep looking. Those are the tips which I would give to the entry level project managers for their networking and finding a job opportunity in today's tough job market.
Those are spot on actually. Yeah, that's really helpful. And when you start from the basic, try to join, as you mentioned, the PMI chapter we have, or any particular group where other professionals are in, and they discuss about project management. Slowly start building, having meaningful conversation, and I would say one thing: do not copy and paste blindly. That, hey, I would like to be in your network, or try to customize, try to have the meaningful conversation so that people appreciate it, and they would like to know more about you, and or they would like to extend their hand to help you, you know so that's always great. Now, one important thing, as a human being, we always need to understand our value, or if you have something with you, you need to understand that particular thing's value, what it creates in your life. Similarly, if you won't understand your value, and if you won't able to articulate that to other person, it will be little difficult for you to build that relationship, or highlight your importance, right? So understanding value is important. Now, what sort of tips you would like to give to all the entry level project managers, that how can they demonstrate their value in terms of the organizational growth, the employers? so that whenever they are new.
Yeah, Sunil, if someone as an entry level or maybe a fresher who would join the organization, who's already joined the organization, right? Um, I think the most important thing for them is to establish their credibility by building the relationships and trust in that organization or in that specific department they are working on, right? Focus on the results, the work which has been given to you. So focus on the result, show the initiative, right? If you are my boss, Sunil, and if I say, okay, if you tell me that Shivani, you do this, and if I don't even know that, but if I take that initiative, that the trust and the relationship becomes kind of stronger, that yes, newcomer, but they are eager to learn, right?
Yeah,
Be adaptable, because it's not that if you go as a project manager, just don't go with that thinking that you enter an organization and you get a project, because you also need to remember that you are trying to be a project manager. So be adaptable, and then have communicate effectively what you feel, how you feel, so that effective communication is very important with your peers, your teammates, and your superiors, which is very important. So I think that's what they should do, uh, if they join an organization right after college.
that's great. So it's all about taking that initiation, never hesitate to ask question, and build that trust by taking this initiation, and be open-minded. Never be that hard-minded, and always try to open up and be open-minded to take initiatives. That will certainly help you to grow in your professional career. That's great. So before we wrap up our technical discussion, I would like to understand one thing. What advice do you have for project managers who are currently open to work and seeking new opportunities?
Advice to those project managers. Okay. Uh, we know it's tough market.
Right.
Even on social media, we see the badges for everybody open for work, so we know that it's pretty tough. So I think very important is, Sunil, just focus on your job goal. Explore multi-channel for job search. Everyone says that tailor your resume as per the job what you're applying, but this is please my own personal thinking, and I could be wrong here, but I feel, for me, just write your true experience in your resume. You can tailor your cover letter, because if you write something in your resume, because if you see a job and a title and you want to apply for that, and you change that in your resume, and you get through the job, man, you are the one who's going to do the job, right? Whether you'll be able to do it or not, because HR also sees that, what is your tenure in your job. Sometimes people would just work for 6 months and 1 year, and they would keep on switching the job. Sometimes people work for 6 years, 7 years in an organization, and then they move. That is known as a career change. That after 7 years, oh, I am moving because I want to make a career change. So that's why I feel that if you have that kind of experience, right, tweak your cover letter, not your resume. And I think just keep on learning when you're doing the job search, so that you're sharpening your skills, because you're not going to the office every day. Stay positive. And I also feel when you're doing the job search that, and I heard, and I always tell everybody, title is important. It is very important, right? But in today's world, salary is more important. So
Very true.
some organizations, they have a title, They pay really well. Some organization they would have a senior title, but your salary probably from here is here. So be very strategic when you're looking for a job. So those are the things I would like to share it with everybody. That's what I am doing. So that is just from straight from heart to everybody, for all the job
Those
seekers,
are
and all
spot
the
on.
best.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very, very important, right? Because when you are making a change or job switch, we have different parameters to look into. One, the salary, the work culture, the career growth, the whether working from home completely or it's a hybrid model. What kind of project it has, what's company ambition for next 4 to 5 years. So we have a lot of parameters. But when you take the decision, you have to pick at least 2 to 3 parameters which is important for you. And as you mentioned, certainly these are crucial parameters nowadays to become a financial stability, independent. You have to have a good salary, right? And to have that reputation in the market, and for your satisfaction, you have to have a good title, job title. So those are spot on. Yeah, thank you for sharing this one. All right, so that wraps up our discussion on the project management and the HR perspective of it. I hope our listeners found this insight valuable as I did. Now let's switch our gears a bit and try to understand our speaker in a better way. Because I personally believe in TSS that understanding our speaker beyond their personal level is much important to build that meaningful relationship. You know, so I have a few fun and interesting questions. So are we good for that?
I'll try, Sunil.
Okay, I would like to uh, start with something like as we are discussing about switching careers now. So if you could switch careers for a day, what profession would you try and why?
Oh boy. Okay. So if I am not a project manager and I would completely like to switch my career, I would go into educational field. I see all these upcoming generation who is brilliant, and I think I have a selfish motive for myself as well, because if I get into that line, I'm going to teach them, but I'm going to learn much more from them, you know so that's the line I would like to go into.
That's a great one. It's always interesting, right, to think about what different paths we might have taken, right? So it's again, it's a brilliant one. Now, thanks for that. So, on a lighter note, now, if you wish, you could give a suggestion or a piece of advice to your younger self, what it could be.
All right, so the piece of advice is that be self aware. It is very important. You'll hear a lot of noise. You need to learn how not to hear that, and be smart. When I say be smart, S as in set specific, that what you want to improve on. M as in it should be measurable, A as in it should be achievable, R as in that it should be relevant in your life. So that goal is important. And T as in time bound. So be smart, you know, and that'll help you a lot. So that's the advice to a younger generation.
That's really amazing. That's what I personally love project management, both personally as well as professionally. The reason being is anything that you pick up, any technique, any philosophy, any framework, you can able to relate that to your personal life, and you can learn from that, and certainly you can grow personally, right, as a human being. That's
Right.
the beauty of project management. I'm really glad to this one. I work as a project manager. So as you mentioned, I know we are running time now, but I would like to understand, as you mentioned, self-aware. Could you please enlighten something on this one, because this is such a crucial point that we should I think we should go ahead and discuss few more points about it. So how can you explain self-awareness? How can you people bring that in, and those who are in the current fresh grads?
Right. Self awareness is very important, Sunil. You need to know what your worth is. It is very
Right,
important. If you don't do that and you're dependent on someone else to let you know that, hey, you are good, that is not self awareness. You need to know within that you are good, what skills you have, what you can do. That's why, quote unquote, I said that you need to be smart, you know.
right.
Having to have good soft skills, which will make you self aware. Emotional intelligence is huge, you know. Your IQ is huge. That will make you self aware. And sometimes, very important, if you want to be, just take out about 15 to 30 minutes in a day for yourself. Just sit in a room, close it, close your eyes, and kind of think, what you are, what you want to do, what is within you. And as I said, just ignore the outside noise. The voice from inside, within you would tell you your worth. That is what self awareness is, you know. So that's how I would explain it.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. At the last point, as you mentioned, everyone, we all of us must take some time, at least 10 to 15 minutes in a day, to sit with yourself, discuss your pain points, discuss your story, discuss your strengths, weakness, so that you can realize your potential, and that will reflect on your work. And it's mandatory that given these strengths, we all are mentally suffering, you know I'm not sure about how healthy time we get to spend with our family, our friends, but it is very imperative to have these sessions with you at least 10 to 15 minutes per day. That's
Mhm.
brilliant, Shivani.
Thank
So
you.
before we conclude, I would like to understand one more thing, that do you have a favorite quote or motto that inspires you in your daily life?
Uh, Sunil, I actually, if you see my LinkedIn channel, I put a lot of quotes. So I just resonate with whatever I read every day. So not, I mean, I don't know how everybody would think, but I do not have a specific quote because I live with life as it comes. But as a project manager, I always feel that you should have a power of the collective, right? As the wheels they turn faster and the goals they go higher, there are three aspects that can provide the right firepower to achieve the ambition. That is bigger, bolder, better. If you remember these things and you read and you sit with you for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, you will come up with an awesome quote every day for yourself, which will motivate you, which will keep you positive. So just don't haunt to one quote, change your quotes every day. Every day, I will emphasize that, to keep yourself powerful and motivated in today's competitive world.
Oh my god, that's a lot of words and so depth, you know So that's brilliant and amazing communication today, that conversation that we have today. So thank you so much for sharing these personal insights, Shivani. That's It's really amazing to know these personal notes. So I hope as much as I did, so our viewers also enjoyed this particular segment. And so with that note, I would like to wrap up this show. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and we had really amazing conversation, and I'm sure people, those who will listen this later on the YouTube, or those who are joined, they have enjoyed it thoroughly. So thanks for your time again. Happy Sunday.
Thank you very much, Sunil. I truly appreciate it. And I just want to say a little something for your YouTube family, that the best teams are those that make you feel like you are a part of a bigger family, like how you are
Right.
doing with your YouTube channel, right? So true, and surrounding yourself with exceptional people can only take you higher as we do great things together. And you are doing wonderful, Sunil. I appreciate what you're doing, and I know that you are touching a lot of lives with your channel, aspiring project manager, people who would like to get into that career, and even someone like me who has 22, 24 years of experience in project management. So thank you very much and keep up the good work. All the best
Thank
wishes.
you so much. I am really truly humbled to have received these kind words and encouragement. As I promise, I always strive to get all the people the best content and to meet with all the professionals there, which will help myself to grow as well as I certainly will try to help others as well. And we together we grow. So with that note, thank you everyone. We will next week again. We will meet with a new episode with a new guest and we'll learn something new. So till then, take care and bye bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shivani.
Bye,
Bye now.
everybody.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.